So, I feel the need to record my thoughts, and I don't know where it's gonna go, or like I make every video and I say, I don't know if I'll be brave enough to post it, because I mean, they say that the things you say to yourself are way worse than, like, the worst thing that could ever happen, but, like, I don't know, man. So, I'm going through a lot right now, and I'm also listening to, like, motivational speakers, and trying to just, like, let what's happening push me, and not judge. Like, there's a lot going on. So the biggest thing is I'm pregnant. We got pregnant because in December I was just in that hopeful space of, like, if we had $1 million and we could do anything and we could, you know, be the greatest of ourselves, would we have a baby? If we won that house, because we were at the time we were hoping we'd win that house, and we're like, that's an epic story. And there was just a night where we were just imagining all our dreams coming true. And when we'd been in that house, we saw the bathtub, and, like, I have both my babies at home, and, like, this old farmhouse, like, if it was too cold, we couldn't have the baby in the house because it was too cold. And James refused to, like, even have the tub for Sterling because the floor was so cold that he knew that we'd just, like, waste our time trying to heat the damn water. It was hard enough in the summer. So I remember walking through the house and being like, Jamie, this bathtub looks like a great place to have a baby. And we were just in hope. And, you know, one of the things I guess I always do is no matter how depressed I get and how hard on myself I get, I play these little games with myself, and I say, if you won the lottery, would you be here? And if the answer is no, then I change it. It takes me sometimes years, but, you know, that's what happens. And it was just like a moment where I didn't worry. And that was, like, for all the kids. It was the moment I didn't worry. It was the moment I just surrendered and said, you know, if you have a little being who wants to choose me as their mother, like, I'll take it on. I'll take it on. Fuck, I'm so scared. Oh my God, so we found it. So it was the middle of February, and I couldn't even keep my eyes open, and I knew something was up, and I was so scared. I was like, I don't want to know. Like, we didn't even know, like, we didn't know anything. Like, we didn't have okay, I'll tell you what I found. I'll tell you where we were at. So I've kept it a secret this whole time, right? Like, this is April 11th today, okay? So I have kept it a secret until this past week from, like, everybody. There's, like, four to seven friends I've told. And it was hard to tell a couple of them. Like, it took me a few weeks to, like, get the courage. Like, I was so scared. And I think I was mostly scared because I was worried they would worry about us. But I was worried. Like, I kept asking myself, like, are you worried about what they think? Or I'm like, no, I want to be able to know that I'm going to be safe and that, you know, my baby's going to be safe and that we're going to be okay. And, like, you know, we're following life, but, like, I'm definitely a backup plan kind of person. So, obviously, it really scared the crap out of me, and I had all these questions. And so basically I just like put it in the back of my mind and said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to change any of my plans. I'm not going to... We don't even know if this baby's going to like stick around. We don't even have medical care. Like, we don't have anything. Like, nope. I'm just not even going to think about it. I mean, it's my third baby too, so like... I got it. I know my body now. So it's a lot safer. I feel a lot safer inside. So I tried to renew my health card. They wouldn't let me online. So that was the first thing that I was like, oh shit. Okay, so now if I want a new health card back from Ontario, I have to return to Ontario. So that's out. And then the biggest question was whether or not the bus could be safetied here, or if we needed to get the hell out of the province, because something was going to fail on the bus, and I needed it to be able to be insured. So the answer to that question is the bus requires $1,000 to $1,500 of work on one of the brakes. So that means we can't leave also. And it's not too much to fix it. So we were planning on spending the summer in this like paradise. Like when I drove out there, I was just like, just please park me here for 4 months. Like, I need to be on the edge of the freaking universe. Like, I need this so bad. Even right now, I'm just like, oh, God. But I said to Jamie, I'm like, I'm not comfortable driving all the way out there with a bus that has this repair job that needs to get done, because either we would never come back or something bad would happen on the way there. And so that sort of shifted our thoughts in terms of what we needed to do here. So we started looking like, okay, we need to move the bus because his job's ending, and even if they asked him to stay on, it was like he was done. Like, you could tell, like, he was just miserable, and we were miserable. And so it was this really weird series of events where, like, we went out to Souk, which is where we got our storage locker, and we went and saw a lot that was for sale for a tiny house, and it was, like, directly in the path of, like, 10 houses looking down at the water, and, like, it was a huge, steep cliff, and, like, not a cliff, but, like, there was a switchback, but down to the water, and anyways, they said that they had problems with neighbors complaining that somebody in a motorhome was there before, and I was like, oh, God. Like, no, we're going to be there, like, for 24 hours, and somebody's going to call on us, and, oh, God, I do not want that. And at the same time, some guy that Jamie works with, this guy that, it's funny, I met him the first day, and then he worked out in the greenhouses the whole time he took the job that Jamie said no to. And then at the end of his, at the end of wrapping or whatever, he ended up working with this guy. And so they sort of built a friendship, and he told him how much we were paying and how, like, we could barely keep ourselves, like, afloat, like, with wood and power and minimum wage and not really knowing what we were going to do. So I couldn't really get a job. Like, I actually had 2 interviews, but I, like, was like, you know what, like, we thought we were leaving in 2 weeks. Like, there's a lot of weird things happen around that time. And anyways, so he got us in touch with a lady that lives on the reservation who owns land on the reservation in Brentwood Bay. And so I called her and she didn't have any room, and then he ended up contacting the neighbor and they said we could come park the bus for $375 a month. Are you kidding me? I'm like, this is why we have a bus. We have a bus so that we can not pay so much money in rent, so that we can get out of the freaking hole that we find ourselves in. Like, everything is always maxed. Like, ugh. Anyways. Like, we can never do anything. Like, you know, living off, like, $2,000, what, $2,500 a month? Oh, it's so hard. So, yeah, like, since the pollen hit, we all got, like, crazy, like, I guess you'd call them allergies, but I would just say reaction to pollen, but I assume it's because we don't know the area very well, but we've never been here in the spring, but, like, holy shit, we were all, like, Jamie's eyes were, like, so red, and sinuses, and I've had a runny nose, and then it just, like, cough. Now I have this cough. Sterling does too. Delilah mildly. Just comes up. 1 second, I need water. So yeah, so we came over and we talked to them and they agreed, and they, we offered to clean up the space where we could park. Anyways, we're cleaning it up. We came up that weekend, we were cleaning it up, and the neighbor, the lady who I had originally called, comes over and, like, totally intimidates us, like, that she's gonna, like, that this is not her, that they're, anyways, there's a land dispute, and she thinks it's not her property. So basically, she threatened to, like, build a fence and box me and my kids in, and I was like, what? Anyway, it's super weird. And, but at the same time, super interesting, because it pushed us to have our bus, like, in the front lot, which is directly on the road. So all of a sudden, we're very visible, which is super interesting for me, because when I think of what I have to offer the world, like, if I were to die tomorrow, what legacy could I leave? I think it's that, like, I'm not perfect, and that I've done a lot of stupid shit in my life, but I've always been nice, and I've always been compassionate, and I've always forgiven, and it's like I'm trying to prove that I deserve happiness too. I think. Like, I don't know, honestly, I'm in this space right now where I'm like, oh my god, I have no idea what's about to happen. So, the other thing that happened is this girl that I have... The story is way too long. Way too complicated. But I found out that this girl told somebody in my husband's family not only that I'm pregnant, but that all my deepest fears that I shared with her when I found out, because she was trying to make amends with me and prove that she was a loyal friend, and we've been talking for a little bit, like 6 months, and she hadn't done anything. And anyways, a month ago, she just disappeared again because I wouldn't add her to Facebook, and I'm just like, okay, like, I'm sorry, but you always fuck me over, so I just don't want to involve you in the rest of my life. Like, we've gotten to the point now where, like, I have her compartmentalized, right? Like, if you want to be in my life, then you can't be in anybody else of my life's life, because you tried fucking with it. Like, when she gets mad at me, she just loses her mind and tries to fuck with my life. So I don't know what the fuck just happened, but, like, she went and told my husband's family that we're pregnant, and all these biggest fears, like, oh my god, I live on a bike. Like, you know, the first things you think of, like, oh my god, can I have a third kid? Like, oh my god, how do I even, like, do errands? Like, I put one on my back, and then, like, what, the baby on my front? Like, Sterling on my back, the baby on my front, and Delilah in my hand. Like, what? Like, how do I pack them all into one car? Like, oh my god, I need to get an apartment. Oh my god, we can't afford a freaking apartment. Like, oh my god, are you going to be in the bus all winter again? Like, okay, well, if you're going to be in the bus, like, how do you make it like the most comfortable for everybody involved? Like, so that's where I've been, like, and so, you know, I was saying my, like, fears, and she went and told her colleagues at work, and I just found out because my husband's mom wrote me and asked me if I was pregnant. So, like, I ended up writing a couple emails, like, well, to his stepdad and his mom, and saying, like, hey, sorry you found out this way, but, you know, we didn't want anybody to worry. We wanted to figure out answers for ourselves so that we could answer your questions. But, like, I feel so betrayed. You know, I found out the day that I was going to tell them, because I didn't want, 2 weeks ago I went to my midwives, and I told them, I just walked in, there's the midwives down the road, and one day we were driving around, and I was like, Jamie, I need to go in here. I'm like, like, I'd known for, I guess, a month at this point, and I was like, no, I need somebody to guide me right now, because I'm really scared about what the next 8 months are going to bring, and, you know, what our deadline is. And so I went in and I told them I didn't have health care, you know, that I could get it, and she's like, I'll take you and we'll just retro charge it. I'm like, okay. So she saw me the first day, and then, like, I broke down in the office because I was just like, I live on a bus, and I have 2 children, and, I want to do the best for my kids, man. I want to do the best for my kids, and, like, I know I can't be the best for them unless I'm the best for me, and I can't be the best for me until I figure out me, and that's what this is. Like, like I'm constantly conflicted with, you're doing it wrong, Amanda. You're doing it wrong, Amanda. You're doing it wrong. Like, no, you have to do it this way. Why don't you just go get an apartment? It's like, no, like, I feel like I won the lottery with James, okay? Like, he pisses me off all the time. And he's, like, disconnected in some weird way that I can't even figure it out because it's, like, a mirror to me. But, like, he loves me in a way that we don't have to talk about it. And I feel safe. And, like, I wouldn't change this adventure for anything. And, like, I'm learning to just accept that, like, we could have been in Ontario trying to make the bus perfect before we left. But we never would have gone through that this winter. Not with him not having a license. And, like, it's so hard when you're poor. I was like, there's so much I would do. There's so much I would do. There's so much I would give back, like, to people that... So anyways, the funny thing is, if I was rich, I don't think I would be living on a bus right now, because let me tell you, a year and a half ago, I was looking at tiny house people, I'm like, no, not me. Like, you don't understand the kind of things I have. Like, my mom died when I was 20. I have everything of hers and everything of mine, and I've dwindled it down to, like, well, before this trip, it was, like, 5 boxes of memories. And, like, I don't have anything of value. It's pictures, journals, artwork. And, like, it killed me to let that stuff go. Like, so much. I was just, like, taking pictures those last few days, like, trying to catalog our lives, because we had to do this. This was the next step in our lives. We were Optimistic Prime. We are the Archers. Like, the universe is just like, Amanda, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how scared you are to look stupid. It doesn't matter when everybody finds out, like, that you have this relatable past, I guess. Although I typically tell myself it's horrible and I'm a horrible person, and anyways. See, I try so hard to, like, be more positive myself, but, like, some things you just feel, like, ashamed for, I guess. But, like, I don't feel ashamed. It's, like, it's, like, this internal, like, block. I have, like, these weird blocks about success, about health, about physical activity, about writing, about vulnerability, about art, about motherhood. Like, I got some serious blocks, and they've been there for so long, and I'm just like, I guess I'm trying to, like, address those issues, because I think my mom died from those issues. Like, I think she probably felt these tensions in her body. Like, I think if you were able to, like, minus a few, well, I figured out the man thing. That was my thing. Didn't want to be a single mom. My mom did it, and it was hard. And I did not. And it was only when I finally accepted I would. I thought I was pregnant from a man from Ireland who ended up leaving to go back to Ireland 4 days later. And I thought I was pregnant. And I realized it was the opportunity for me to choose myself. And I was like, you know, the universe will play a trick on you. I'm like, if you tell yourself, I'm like, if you say you won't have this baby, you're going to have this baby. I'm like, you're going to be pregnant. I'm like, if you imagine keeping the kid and imagine you be okay and accepting that whole existence, then you won't be pregnant. This is what I convinced myself. It's like, okay. So I'm like, it's like accepting yourself for you, right? I was like, okay, so if you could be your mother at 34 years old and be pregnant, 31. If you could be, because this is obviously before my husband. So I was like, if you could be your mother. So my mom was 34 and she had me. If you could be your mom. Yes, 33 when she found out. You go back to 1982. And you find out you're pregnant from this Irish guy who's now on the west coast of Canada following his heart. And that's where you want to be. And you were in love with him. Would you keep the kid? Would you keep the kid? And I had to say yes. If I knew that my mother would die when I was 20 and that I'd be fucked up, would I keep the kid? And I was like, yep. And there was something in that statement that I realized that my mother had been fighting it and she always wanted to be in a relationship. So to choose being a single mother, recognizing that she did make that choice, that she made that choice, and it was a hard one, but she did it. And that she never needed a man, and that I didn't need a man, and that nature wasn't so scary. If you just, learned like everything else and made peace with it and trusted it. I went into the forest at night and you can hear James snoring in the background. And it was from that experience that I met James, because James is so independent that it's almost like I can't even explain it. It's a totally different energy than anything I've ever dated in my whole life. He just won't do something he doesn't want to do. He just won't he doesn't care to explain it. He doesn't give a shit what you think. He just, I think there is a partial, but especially because he doesn't share a lot online, I think that he doesn't have that weird feedback thing that I do. So it just allows him to be free in a way. And I need more water. So yeah, so I think that's like what they call karma. That like I beat my mother's karma through, you know, getting comfortable with my sexuality in my 20s, being promiscuous, being, you know, forgiving myself for not having a boyfriend and, you know, not wanting to date most of the men that I met and understanding if they didn't want to date me because, like, sometimes you're just not compatible with people, and, like, sometimes you just need touch. And my mom was the same way, I think, and she was so embarrassed about how many people she slept with. And I think that, you know, I sort of made peace with that thing, or I'm still in the process of making peace with that thing. And then the man thing, like, in terms of needing a man, like, you know, my mom, I think, lost something in her man hunt. I think she lost herself in a way, like, she lost her capacity to, like, do it on her own, maybe. Like, she just didn't think she could do it on her own anymore or something. I don't know. But I think that my mother got cancer because traumas of her life were holding her back in ways that she couldn't understand, and that she had longings inside her that she wasn't pursuing, and with no prospect. And I suppose, like, for me, you know, good or bad, positive or negative, I knew my dad was never gonna come to Ontario to see me. I knew he was never gonna come meet my family. This is not gonna happen. I know it. He's just, I don't know what it is, but he's never going back there. So it was like my biggest dream for James to meet him and for my kids to meet him, and, like, especially James, because, like, I feel like they share a similar spirit, except James is an amazing dad. But when I met them, I was like, oh, I see a lot of, like, the independent, like, I'm gonna do me and you do you, and, like, you know, be cool until it's not cool anymore. Cool? No hard feelings when I want to go, but, you know, I'm not here forever. And, so when the opportunity came for this trip, when James said he would come here, I was like, okay, done. And then it was like, we just followed the universe. Like, we tried to make a GoFundMe page, and we didn't make a lot of money, let me tell you. We got married, and I think we brought in, like, $1,200, and I think the wedding, like, ended up, and, like, things that were going, at the end, thinking it all ended up costing, like, $800, like, whatever. We, you know, did the yard sailing, and it, like, covered our rent the last month we were there. Like, we really did not do this on a lot of money, and we traveled the country on not a lot of money, and I'm really proud of us, because, like, I don't know, I can't explain the feeling because I can't remember what it felt like before necessarily. But for me, this was a fulfilling a longing. So there's no longing there. And it was like one of my last real longings. Like, okay, my other longings are be a writer, paid, write a book and somebody pays me. Like, I guess people like the book. That's why I would get paid, that, like, I actually have written something that people enjoy reading and share, which is an interesting thing. And, like, change the world. I think everybody feels like I'm learning everybody sort of has that. Well, maybe underneath all the bullshit, but most people have a longing to, like, change the world, or a longing to impact people, a longing, like, to leave a legacy, I guess you could say. And when I sit back and wish, like, you know, the bed was better mattresses, or there were walls, or we had a shower, or, you know, when I get down on, like, the whole situation, I realize that I've been, like, that this bus has given me the opportunity to be out in nature, like, every single day. And even if it's subtle, it impacts me. And when I'm, like, even right now we're surrounded by people, and, like, I just wish that we could be in the back bush, but that's where we wanted to go, but we just couldn't afford it. We needed to be where there was, like, potential for some kind of job, so we're here. But certain Fridays, I go walking by myself, try to hide. The thing about being in this situation is you sort of let the universe guide you. And there are parts of me that, when I go into that space of, like, just trusting and, like, not having a plan necessarily, and, like, just believing that it's actually, like, these significant moments in my life have happened, and that they're pulling towards other events. Like, when I said goodbye to my dad, I drove down this road and we passed this reservation, and I said to my cousin, I wonder if white people can live on that reservation, or on reservations. I'm like, and I wonder if white kids could go to a reservation school. Because I thought, what an interesting perspective. What an interesting perspective. And how much could they learn from being in an environment where they get to hear the truth. So these candles we bought at an auction online. It was like a little desk that Jamie got, or a little dresser, and it came full of beeswax candles, which has been amazing for the trip because beeswax helps take impurities into the air and they smell nice and they're good for the kids. Non-toxic. So anyways, that's the reserve we're on. And despite the fact that I wish I had a shower, I mean, we have rec passes, and for the first time in my life, I have a recreational pass to go to the pool every single day. So right now, the only reason I'm not going to the pool is because of me. It's like one of those things, like, when I was a little kid, I always used to say, if I was disciplined enough, I would get up in the morning, meditate, go to the pool. That's how I start my day. I don't know what I need to do to make myself do it. There's a block. So there you go. There's one of those blocks. So it's like all of a sudden I have a beautiful tent that I set up finally 2 days ago. There's a few things I want to change. I would like to get a rug for it. There's these mandalas that are selling online, like tapestry mandala that I like to put in it, but there's lights in there now. James is worried about the little propane heater, but I feel like I put the propane heater in there and just was like disciplined about it, and like the kids weren't allowed in there with it on, and that I was paying attention to it, but just to heat it up in the morning, and that I could like actually go out there and have a space that's mine, that's outdoors but indoors at the same time. And then there's a pool just down the road that I could go to. Kyle sees I'm listening to him right now, and he is big on the meditation. He's just like an hour. It's like the hardest thing is to get through that first half an hour, and he's like, most of my breakthroughs happen at 46 minutes. And he swears if you just do that, it's having a relationship with yourself, and I can see it in myself right now. Like, I'm constantly trying to stuff my food in my face. Like, I'm anxious. Like, I'm trying to avoid myself. And he says the only answer is to, and I've always known that. And I guess for me, I've just been trying to figure out how far you could go before you had to, like, meditate. I think, for me, meditation is really important to conduct in your, like, day-to-day experience, like, where you become aware of yourself. I guess that's the journey that I've taken, is become aware of yourself. And now I'm so aware of myself. I see where I'm stuck. And that those are the things that are stopping me from, like, my future. And so the first is becoming meditative in your day-to-day doings. And the next one is becoming meditative in your solitude and quiet, where you're actually connecting to the inner, which scares the shit out of me too. I guess the reason it scares me the most is because I listened to people tease my mother and me my whole childhood. Like, fuck. And, like, I don't want that. And I don't want that for my kids. And it's scary. It's scary making choices or doing things or believing things that are outside of most people's realms of understanding / interest / curiosity, maybe. And I guess I'm a little jealous of, like, the whole Christian Jesus God thing, because I feel like it's easier to put, like, a image of a man or a person than to accept that it's the infinite. And that I really believe what Jesus is, the whole thing about Jesus is he's telling us, I'm no different than you. You too can be free. You just have to follow the signs. You just have to follow your passions. You just have to trust that when you live on a bus with 2 little kids and 2 dogs and a husband that you adore on indigenous land marked federally, and you find out you're pregnant, there's a reason. And that you will be fine. And there is something so magical about the fact that this baby is coming right now. And I'm really excited about having a BC baby. I'm really excited. And I really don't mind if it's at the hospital this time, but then one of the midwives said I could have it at her house if we wanted, and James joked we should have it in the tent. I was like, I'm gonna kill ya. I'm like, although it is really pretty and, like, you know, but I'm always worried about the sounds I make. And I mean, that's why I didn't want to be in the hospital, because I was going to be too self-conscious. I wanted to be at home where I could, like, just be and not resist as much. And but now, like, I'm worried that because we were in the middle of nowhere, like, I'm worried if we were here, I would just be, like, so loud, or I'd hold back because I didn't want to yell, kind of thing, or something like that. And that maybe the hospital with a maternity wing who's used to people screaming might actually be good for me, because I was always scared of it. So I don't know, we'll see. But I'm excited to have met the people whose property we live on. I'm excited to build friendship with them, and I'm excited to see where that friendship goes. I'm excited about I'm starting dance class next week. That's the turning point. Because since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a dance instructor. And body. I never had the, I don't even know, like, space, money. Anyways, dancing was really only found in my life at bars, and I stopped going to bars freaking like 5.5 years ago now. So I've missed dancing, and like we used to dance in our living room at home with the music like blaring. And we still dance occasionally, but it's like there's something I feel connected to. I feel connected to me when I dance. And makes me happy. And yet, like, it's almost like you have to force me to do it. Anyways, I'm trying to shift my whole... in my hillside mug. I need more water. If I take the judgment away from all of this, it's such a cool story. Like, if I take away the worry, if I take away that I shouldn't be here and that I should be somewhere else, and that if I just accept that this is exactly where things start making sense, and that we make connections that we never could have possibly unless we're exactly who we are and in exactly this situation. Because, like, we're super vulnerable right now, too, right? So, like, it's really interesting how, like, anybody can really take advantage of us right now. And it's already happened a couple times. And at the same time, it's just interesting to observe how easy it is when you don't have money to not have power, and therefore allow people to be able to take advantage of you. But also that you have to put yourself in a position where somebody can, because you're at their mercy in a way. And that's sort of how we felt at the last place we worked, is that, like, thank God. But, like, we weren't really making enough to get, like, we were paying $650 a month in rent, and that was, we had a shower and we had a kitchen, which was amazing. And, like, we were in between a forest and the house, so, like, the windstorms didn't really affect us, which was, like, great, too. And I didn't have to drive James anywhere, which was fantastic. So, like, there were so many, like, bonuses. With that, he was, like, astronomical, because we were buying tiny portions of wood because we didn't know when the job would go till, and we couldn't afford a lot. And yeah, I mean, Jamie barely went into the house, so it was just a lot of money for us. And it was, like, basically, like, we were paying about the same amount as we were paying in, like, the old farmhouse, except we had less drafty windows, and we're on Vancouver Island, and we're in our own space. So, anyways, we just could not... He was just making basically enough to survive, really. And he's miserable, and we just couldn't get out of the hole. So finding this place through that place has been really eye-opening in terms of, like, how the indigenous people are treated. Like, it's super interesting. Super interesting. And I'm just curious what the other side of it all is. Like, I'm curious about what the truth is. And what the stories are. And what the culture is like. I hope I get to learn about, like, traditions. Because I'm always, like, there's something so sacred about indigenous cultural things. Like, I've been at a few abroad, like in Korea or Japan, and I swear they bring me to tears. Like, what's the Maori dance in New Zealand, the haka? That thing always makes me, like, tear up. Like, it's visceral. And I think that that's the thing, is, like, the dancing and the movement and the song. It's all, like, you get the body moving, you get flowing with parts of you that may be stuck. And maybe that's why I'm so excited about this belly fit class, because, like, I want to be a belly fit instructor, and I'm so scared to, like, you know, start, well, plus the anyways, I've had some difficulty with the technology, but I haven't really figured it out either. I have not the discipline to do it every day. There's only 6 weeks, and it's on Tuesday mornings, and I basically just said I'm committing, because I'm in desperation to figure out myself and to heal these broken parts so that we're not poor. So I'm not so, like, blocking possibilities for me to make money. Like, I cannot be a server for the rest of my life. Like, I could be, but, like, I'll accept it and we will be fine. But, like, I feel like I'm supposed to do more. I'm supposed to have more. I'm supposed to be able to give back more. Like, we have this incredible idea of, like, you know, it's a mixture of, like, well, you know, a bunch of different ideas, but, like, we heard there's a term called agrihood, and we want to do that for, like, nomadic people like us, and I want to buy this software. Well, I was thinking, like, a doodly video to, like, explain the whole vision, and then we can modify it as we go. But, like, so far, the vision is get an old school, find a community that would like to affect the housing thing, you know, have nomadic people in their space, who want to provide workshops, or, you know, who have skills in the community and want to contribute, and have... Basically, you build a community center, except you change the bylaw to allow for nomadic people to have a place to park and do work away, where, you know, you work for 5 hours on whatever project there is around. You can get free room and board, or parking space and board, and if not, it's like $20 a night. And, you know, base it on a similar structure to the farm that we were staying on Salt Spring. Aloha. Like, have have the forum that deals with conflict. Feed them breakfast and lunch with the stuff that you grow there after a while, I guess. Have a communal space where, you know, if you're doing yoga, you can offer to share it with other people there. You can set up a workshop once a week, you know, to share your art form, and like have that in a communal space where the community can share it, and that people who may be scared to go pay for that or not have the money, and, you know, but they just like want to find out more, they can just come on down. And that, like, we make a green roof and an edible food forest, and we give families the opportunity to thrive. We give people the opportunity to thrive in such simple ways, like self-sustaining, like make people feel safe again on the earth. And it's like a camp. I mean, ideally it would be a camp up in the middle of nowhere. I love that, but I mean, I would really like it to be away from people. Just because it's the wild of the nature that people need. It's the wild of the nature that people need. And, you know, the key is just to provide a safe space for that to exist in. And that's what I love about schoolie life, is that, like, at the end of the day, if things weren't working out here, we could just pick up and go. And